Sound is good. I said, good morning. It's obviously going very well. One day I'll do this and it will work flawlessly. Look at my mug. Everything's coming up Millhouse. And I say this ironically because nothing ever fucking comes up Millhouse, ever, for me. But anyway, so is my sound on, my chat on, all that shit? Good, oh, okay. Is there anybody fucking watching? I have no idea. Good morning. The time I spent on preparing notes for this, I spent overfilling this cup because it's a new cup, and that means that I got my measurements wrong and I overfilled the cup, walked away from the Nespresso machine, and spent the time preparing that I should have spent preparing notes, cleaning this up just so I could show you my Millhouse mug. So I'm winning already today, so it's fucking great. Hello, I'm not supposed to swear in the first bit of my video because apparently that is where the problem is. It's not actually in swearing. Here you go, people. Here's some digital advice. I've done some research. It's not actually the swearing in the video. It is how adjacent it is to an ad. So if your channel is monetized and you are sweary or controversial, they just don't want to see it next to an ad. So, and basically, I think it's in the first, I don't know what the exact percentage is. I've got to do some research, but don't swear in the first bit of the video. And I did that, but I'm not monetized and I don't see myself being able to monetize anytime soon. So, hi fuckers. Okay. What am I fucking doing? Look, I have notes and then they disappear and then I have fucking this and then it disappears. And I sit there and I go, you know, you got to get more organized, Taya. Seriously. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to live stream as if there's like 1,000 people watching. You know, like those little kids that like YouTube, like, hey guys, and no one's watching. I'm just going to do that. I'm just going, hey guys, how you doing? Hit me in the comments, knowing no one's going to fucking... Actually, no, that's not true. I have actually had some really great comments and stuff. I haven't gotten to all of them. I've had a busy week with site launches. So, all right. So, oh, fuck. Okay. So I'm going to have a sip of coffee. And I'm going to pretend that I'm not looking half asleep and like shit and tired. And we'll just talk about some stuff. So, my poll of the week. I've decided to start doing a Twitter poll every week on something stupid and hopefully make people laugh. So head on over to my Twitter if you want. You can get to everything via my domain. It's just so much easier than giving you a million links. But by going to tayasmith.com.au, you'll find the links there. I'm working on the website. I'm too busy working on other people's websites right now. So anyway, so one thing is Ecamm have updated their shit, which means that now chats should come up on the window with any luck. Apparently. It's ready to display messages, but they're not coming up. So something's fucked up. Because I can... you can all go fuck this thing. I can see a chat there, and it's not there. And this is why they don't put me on television. I just want you to know this is why nobody puts me on TV, because I'm a fucking moron. Oh, I can build a website, no problem. But this, I am so out of my depth. So the messages aren't coming through. So anyway, let me see if I can fix it. Okay, I'm gonna be fucking real. I'm gonna be that cunt in a meeting who does something, who makes a change in the meeting while people are sitting there. Oh, there we go. Look. Okay, it magically appeared. Fucking hell. Stupid. Anyway. Okay. So, anyway. Okay. It only took me, 7.5 minutes to start doing what I actually planned on doing. I think there is some benefit to me editing. Oh, God. I am so tired. Anyway, so what I thought I'd do is a couple of just little stupid things. Like I want to, my Twitter poll. Okay, so first thing I want to do is once a week have a Twitter poll and just show the results, just for a laugh. You know, like all of this woke stuff. Everyone's so intense and everyone's lost their fucking minds. And I just want to start having a little bit of fun. I've been talking to a few people and it's getting to that point where I think we just... I want to tell you this story about my 2-year-old who once had a tantrum because I wouldn't... This was years ago, but he once had a tantrum because I wouldn't let him drive. And nothing, he couldn't be reasoned with. He was a toddler, right? So what do you do with that in that situation? You say, sure, go on then, and you let him get behind the wheel and realise that he can't do it. It's getting to that point where these fuckwits are trying to run the world. Let's just let them run the world for a month. Just get our supplies ready, get water and food, and let the woke fucks run the world for a month and let them realise that they don't know what they're fucking doing. Like when Homer Simpson ran for the waste commissioner. What was it, waste commissioner? Sanitation commissioner. And all the garbage piled up because he had a fight with them all and they wouldn't work for free. That's how... maybe we just need to let them run. So anyway, I'm at this point. Yes, I am. I care about this stuff. I'm angry about it, but I can't sustain anger. I can't sustain the anger for much longer. So I think I'm just having a bit of a break where I'm just going to fucking laugh at it. In light of Dave Chappelle and all that stuff, these cunts can't walk. You know. Haven't you watched The Walking Dead? Yeah, well, there is always that chance. But the upside, the upside of the zombie apocalypse, I'm just going to say, is that we get a clean out. I am not advocating for genocide. I'm just saying there is an upside. But unfortunately, I tend to be of the unwell camp, so I'll probably be someone who carks it. I tweeted today. Oh, I'm actually quite proud of this tweet. Maybe I should. I don't like being those people that showcase my own tweets, but I did tweet today. I may be on the wrong side of history because the winners write history. So it's not about who's morally right and wrong in history. It's about who won that writes history. That's what colonialism, decolonization is all about. So that's what's really funny. But second of all, I don't, or the loser. So my tweet was, I'd either be on. I'm quite comfortable with the fact that I might be on the wrong side of history or the losing side, but I sure as shit refuse to be on the dumb one. It's like idiocracy, man. This is crazy. So anyway, I'm just going to start laughing at everything, and I'm at that point. I think we're all at a bit of a breaking point where I think the self-ID laws passed in Victoria, it passed in Tasmania. One thing I did find out is that in Western Australia, they actually tried to implement self-ID and it died in the water at consultation phase. So props to the WA government in the sense that they actually did consult and it actually didn't get through before it didn't get to this point. So there's something to be said for living in even though we've got a Labor government, there's something to be said for having a slightly more conservative Labor government than Victoria. So anyway, but yeah, I've fucking wandered into whatever, but I want to laugh at the world. I think that we're getting to that point where, I'm a big fan of George Carlin and Billy Connolly and I think that, there's a place for angry political commentary and there's a place for it, but I think I'm finding myself more just going, look, I'm on your side. I agree. I'm angry, but how I deal with my anger is to be a fucking idiot. You know, well, actually, no, you shouldn't be surprised that it passed in Tasmania because the Greens. That's actually a lot of really progressive stuff. The Greens actually have a lot more power there, and when you understand the makeup of but yes, you are right. It is urban elites, but predominantly Greens in Tasmania. They've always had quite a bit of influence. So I'm guessing that there's something else going on that was you can only follow so many fucking things at once, and I can't follow state politics and federal politics and US politics and culture and tech. You know, as much as I love to do that full time, as much as I'd love to be Tim Pool and immerse myself, you know, even he can only do 4 a day. So but yeah, I would assume just this is again just general knowledge. Don't quote me, but yeah, the Greens do have a balance of power in the upper house there, and they have quite a lot of influence. Same in the ALP. This is one day I want to talk through because I'm doing my series, the Stuck in the Middle series, and I do have a lot of history with factional politics in the ALP. And also as I joined the Greens and then bounced back to the ALP and now find myself sort of still a member but floating, hesitant to be active in the party because I'm at the point where I just can't fucking deal with these fuckwits. But the Victorian left are very left. So they're actually the interesting thing about the ALP, and I've wandered off script here, but we'll get back to it. But the interesting thing about the ALP is that it is actually quite diverse in the range of views, and even the factions. It is highly organised in terms of factions and alignments and the union that's aligned with X faction, and it does come down to numbers. That's initially why I left the ALP, because I got heavily involved in there's parallels, which is why I find it funny, because we're on it's kind of a weird dose of political karma, because I was a student politician and I was a young ALP member, and I behaved pretty fucking abhorrently as well. So I need to talk to you about how I was part of a group. They were called the Millennium Group. Don't fucking laugh. All of you can shut the fuck up. Called the Millennium Group. I didn't name it. I designed the t-shirts. Turning up to a fucking fully grown up political conference in branded t-shirts, that will tell you all you need to know. This was in 2000 when I was 20 when I was like second year politics, right? We crashed the ALP state conference as a voting bloc of centre left, right? The difference being we were centre left, not fucking this intersectional bullshit that doesn't actually make sense. At least our politics were still based in reality. That was the one thing we had going for us. But I can only imagine now how fucking stupid we looked. We were the young centre-left faction playing grown-ups. It's basically playing house. And I think that's the thing that I find funny is that these kids, there's a childlike, I love it. That's why I can laugh at it, because I know that it passes. Eventually they enter the real world, they realise, and they run for sanitation commissioner, and they realise that all the garbage is going to pile up, and it's not as simple as, the world is not like that. The problem is that us fuckwits are giving them power because we're their parents and we didn't parent them. We need to just say no. That's not how the world works. So what I'm doing is I'm going to laugh at them and say, this is not how the world fucking works. And just say, off you go then. Go on, 2-year-old. You want to have a tantrum because you can't drive? Then fucking drive. Get in the car, realise that you can't reach the fucking pedals, and I'm going to go get my popcorn and my camera and I'm going to film the whole fucking thing. So that's how I feel about the Church of Woke right now. They're a laughing stock. They're a cult. They're a potentially dangerous cult, but I think humour is the thing that's we're not going to win. by fighting with them, because there is no way to reason with them. What we should do is laugh at them and go, okay, child, fine. You know, anybody who's got teenage kids understands this. It's like, you can't, the best thing about being a parent and the worst thing about is that they don't prepare us for is the thing that is that, and I'm so sorry to my mum, and I'm, to everybody who dealt with me when I was younger, because it's a circle of life where you end up getting this fucking massive dose of karma, where I know that my family would have found me insufferable. I was a politics student. Everything was a fucking monologue, and I thought I knew everything. Excuse me. You know, I thought my parents, they were all white. Sorry about that very unflattering thing. I'm not. Everybody. I knew everything. And now we've got kids that know everything. And they won't be told. And you get a front row seat to a fucking train crash and a car wreck that you cannot stop. And it is simultaneously the worst feeling and the fun. It's funny if you can laugh at it, but it is a terrible, terrible feeling. Knowing that they're not going to listen to you, that they're not going to listen. And you can't do anything except watch. And that's what we need to do with the Church of Woke, is see it for what it is. See and see the blue ticks and journalists and celebrities that are giving these fuckers power as terrible, bad, guilty helicopter parents who, there's people that leverage a movement to look cool and look younger and seem hip. They just need to be seen for what they are, which is that. And once you see it that way, you go, okay, let's just see this thing. These institutions, I'm not one to defend the institutions. I used to be one of these people, but my politics was right and my theory was right, and I'd read the books. That's the difference, is that I'd actually read shit, and I was actually a political science student. And I understood the underpinnings of this. These guys are just batshit mental on an idea. So it's not even like a theory in a book, it's an idea, right? I think the chats are quite a slightly delayed, Flick, so I'm really sorry. But they're a little bit, this fucking chat thing, I don't know whether it's worth it, but I've got this thing I'm on right now. You know, it's called a video. I'm on one of those with my friend Andrea, right? And we were talking. We had a 3.5 hour conversation. She's so wonderful. The other 95 on YouTube, she's so great. We had and she's in Canada, and we had a 4 hour conversation. It was fantastic. And through that conversation, I kind of had an aha moment. And this is not me kids today stuff, but how we got here. It's a number of factors, and because I've had an agency and I've worked in marketing and I'm a UX designer, I see it from the business side and how advertising and marketing have contributed a little bit to this as well. In the sense, it's just kind of a generational phenomenon, in the sense that so on one hand, everybody is a helicopter parent, attachment parent, all this shit, right? Oh my God, I could do a whole fucking episode on motherhood forums and the wars I've had over the years. In fact, I want to do that. Carly, come on my show. We've got to do that motherhood forum thing. The mother wars. Fuck me. Okay. I've always been about, again, just because of, by way of working in politics and child protection, I know child development, and all those sorts of things. So I always was like, nope, you fucker, you're sleeping. I'm sleep training you. The baby whisperer. No, I'm sorry, you can, nah. And my kids have always slept well. Anyway, so it starts with the parenting wars. Okay. Then it starts with Gen X and our resentment towards our parents. The shit we didn't get, the mums that worked. There's the, we've all got our shit. The shit, like I think Gen X on some level were raised to miss out because we were part of that MTV generation. We were part of that first real generation to have, mass release of like merchandise related, like with Star Wars and toys and wanting that real mass commercialization of entertainment. We were the MTV generation where we were the, I guess, we're the first wave cultural pop culture consumers on some level, right? And with that wave of advertising, the sort of 80s advertising wave, getting kids hooked on junk food and convenience food, mothers, both parents working, latchkey kids, all this stuff, plus parental guilt of work, a lot of the motherhood guilt of working. That's still something that I go through. I still feel it. And, you would think that we're not there yet, but you would think that we've moved past that guilt. But, I haven't, and I'm sure, and a lot of my friends haven't, about whether we're making the right choices for our kids. And that results in too much information, so too many parenting books, too many parenting theories, and we go with the theories and that idea. Trust your instincts, trust what feels right as a parent, right? I'm waffling. I could actually, if this ends up being something, I could actually edit this into something. So bear with me. But so so in terms of that timeline, I think that a lot of it comes down to that trust your gut as a parent. So there's Gen X as a parent, as a young mum. I was fucking terrified. Nobody told me what to expect when you're expecting was not anything. It was all about the pregnancy, and even that didn't go as expected. It went awfully, and I, as a young mum, I struggled. And I paid the price for using for my poor daughter who didn't get sort of the benefit of me knowing. I was just figuring stuff out as I went along, and I think we learned. This was, the internet was just new, but also the fact that there was too much information. So you get in, in the early days, you would have Yahoo groups for parents, and you'd have Essential Baby and birth.com.au. I managed to get banned from most of those at some point because I would I don't, oh my God, I've got stories about this stuff. All of these tribal wars are amazing. Anyway, I'm going to move on from that. But what we did was as a young mum, I logged on to parenting forums and parenting groups, and where I felt like there was just judgment and too much information, too many books, too many different opposing ideas. And I intuitively, at some point, decided to just do what felt right for me and my kid. And if she was okay, I was okay. And unfortunately, I don't know if that's, I think that's worked out. Thank you for seeing, Flickr. I know I'm just talking, but thank you for, you're very loyal and I appreciate it. And I don't know if anyone else is here and commenting because it appears that only YouTube comments seem to come through. So it's really annoying. I'm going to try and get fucking Restream or Ecamm to fix this because it's actually really annoying. I'm just going to open my Facebook in case there are people chatting. I doubt it because, hang on. I need to find some sort of app where I can do this stuff without having to stream the video because it pulls all of my traffic. Hang on. It's really hard to know. If you are looking on Facebook, can you please comment because I can't see if you are actually watching. Same with Periscope or because I can't see it. So because most people go on YouTube to look, I haven't been able to test it. Actually, maybe I should just talk to myself and just do a quick test. I apologize. I will actually edit this video, I think. I might actually just not, just give me 1 second. I'm going to do a test comment. Yeah, see, it doesn't seem to come through. Okay, so there's a slight delay as well, so maybe it will come through and maybe it won't. Be nice to know if it worked. It's really embarrassing. It's like, hey guys, there's no one's watching. I don't know. Sorry. Okay. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So, anyway, my theory, I'm coming to some theory here, and I might write something about this or just do a video or whatever format that it takes. And that is that I think we reached a point on the internet as parents where we realized that not all of the information that was out there was reliable, not all, and that there was too much of it, and that there was judgment no matter what you did. And I think that on some level, that did affect my parenting because there were some areas where I doubled down. Hang on. Let me look presentable. No one's watching. Fuck it. All right. So there were areas where, because of my nature, if I'm told I can't do something, my first reaction is, fuck you, I can. Right? And the internet sort of magnified that on some level in the old parenting days because and also I didn't really have the best of sort of role models in terms of growing. You know, I didn't know how to parent. Hi B. The Twitter doesn't work either. Periscope, none of the comments except YouTube come through, which is really annoying. Oh. It's funny when you have young babies and the old internet and the motherhood forums. And I had, because my kids are all four years apart. So my daughter's she's actually 18 this week. It's crazy. My little baby girl is like 18. I, complete non-adult, have made my own adult. That's insane. Anyway, but my kids are 4 years apart. So it's funny for me because I've inadvertently also seen the evolution of parenting forums and how that changed in the sense that in 2001, when Mina was born, sorry, my daughter, she doesn't like me talking about her. I'm sorry. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, 2001. She was born at 11:55 a.m. on September 10th, 2001. So, and I was on an email list for September 2001 babies, but it was a worldwide one. So there was a lot of Americans on there, and a few Australians and some Canadians, and then she was born. Emergency C-section 5 minutes before September 11th, 2001. So I actually was completely out of it on September 11th. We were watching, so because we're on obviously time difference, we're about 12 to 16 hours behind. We're 12 hours behind New York, I think, if I can remember correctly. So that night after she was born, because I'd had a really, really rough time. I bled and yeah, it wasn't good. So I was really out of it that night. And I remember we were watching Rove, I think. And I was hooked up on painkillers, absolutely like hooked up on painkillers. And Sandra Sully very famously interrupted Rove, and I watched the Twin Towers in real time. At the same time, I was processing this traumatic birth, and the same time that I was processing, being a mum. I hadn't seen her because she was actually not well. So I'd really only seen her once that day because I was so out of it, and she was, in the what you call it. This is how long it was ago. The humidity crib. And so I was just fucking out of it. And so, but in the context of this, I was on this parenting list, or this I'm not going to say parenting, mother list. You know those thing, women who give birth? Yeah. Okay. I was on this list, and September 11th happened with a bunch of pregnant women who gave birth and were hormonal and completely lost their fucking minds. Now, me being an idiot, let's agree, at 21, and I told you earlier that I was a fucking insufferable moron when I was an undergrad. Just imagine how insufferable a moron I was, because I was not only 21 like these woke fucks, but I actually had a degree in political science and I knew what I was talking about. I was insufferable. I was like, I'm Taya-splaining. I still do it. I Taya-splain fucking everything. I'm the worst. Anyway, so I was sitting there, and guess what I decided to do? Do you want to guess? I decided to suggest gently that maybe America's foreign policy contributed to it on this motherhood forum. Holy shit. Holy shit. And that's how I know I've lived this. I've lived this choice where you sit and you go, either you say I was wrong and you apologize, or you double down, or you go away. Guess what I did? Guess what I did? I doubled down. Don't double down. Unless you know what you're doing. That was fucking terrible. Anyway, I have veered off point. This is the point of live streams, because you get to see me just fucking talk shit and see where it goes. I went on a massive tangent. But my theory is that, very early on, I learned that these things were scary and dangerous. Okay, very early on, I learned that these things were scary and dangerous. Hello, obvious enigma. Hello. Good to see you. I'm actually getting people on here. This is exciting. I'm very annoyed that the comments don't work. I'm very annoyed. Oh, B. Oh, you... Thank you for that. I love you so much. You are a fucking stellar human being. For those that are watching, is it okay if I say something? B has cancer, guys, so she's just laughing. She's laughing in her own way and dealing with it. There's people who actually deal with life and suffering and can laugh. I love you, B. You're great. And we do need to fucking talk. I've been so crazy. This is why I'm doing this stupid live stream, because I haven't had time to really do any videos. So, shout out to Magdalene and all those as well. Love you. Anyway, back to my theory, which was that very early on, okay, because I was early on the internet and I just happened to have the baby, and on September 11th, and be a big mouth, and it was a perfect storm for learning this stuff very early on, right? Which is that, sorry, I'm still a little bit thrown by, I don't want you to go. I don't want to, oh, fucking hell. You trolled me, you fuck. That's somebody, guys, if you are in the fucking church, learn from B. Learn from Magdalene. Learn from people. Learn from me, right? We've all had life-threatening situations and all faced death, real death, and we can laugh. Calm the fuck down. All right? Calm the fuck down. Get some perspective. Anyway, so thankfully, I as of today, I am currently upright. So I'm very lucky. I have upright privilege, B. And that again is why they don't put me on television. Okay, so what was I? Yeah, so it was this whole perfect storm, right, around me being a young mum, me being all of these things that I was talking about before, So it was a perfect storm between my own sort of confused. I didn't really have the greatest of maternal role models growing up. Sorry, Mum, that was my fault because I didn't want to. It's fine. But my grandma wasn't the greatest of role models either. Um, the the fact that I was smart and precocious and fucking big mouth and knew it all. Unbearable. Um, I should read some of my old. I should actually go. I've scrubbed a lot of my old blog stuff, but I should actually probably read some out sometime or republish them because I'm unbearable. Um, um, and that's why when I was in the church, you know what? I was never really in it. Like with if you watch Unsafe Space with Kerry, she talks a lot about how she bought that SJW stuff hook, line, and sinker. I never really did. I always thought, you guys are fucking idiots. But I didn't speak up because I didn't think that it was my area. I don't suffer, despite on some level grappling with gender and also being, anyway. I don't know who's watching this, so I don't want to talk about my sexuality because I believe it's private. But I am not oppressed because I'm currently in a heterosexual marriage, and I am all of those things. Okay, so I don't suffer that. It's not my lane. It's not my. I don't. It's not my. But I'm an ally. Consider myself an ally, and I try to be the best ally that I can. So I reflexively listen to the voices that I was told to listen to, and then I realized that those voices were fucking morons. And I realized that there were more voices that were being crowded out. And then, yeah, but I'll go through that in Stuck in the Middle as a series because I want to talk about my journey in and out of left-wing politics. And I wouldn't say out because I'm still left, but I'm still centre-left. I still consider myself a social fucking Democrat that is left-wing. That is what it's always been. And I am not, I don't see what the fucking problem is. I think we've just got a generation of kids that have lived under neoliberalism, under post-Reagan Thatcher economics and third way, and they thought that that the neoliberal left economic so they're confused about their terminology, right? Hello there. They're confused about their terminology. Because they haven't necessarily lived a true social democratic life, right? So I've wandered off again, but one of my thoughts about this is that they haven't really lived under the Australia that I lived under, right? Or the America post-war. They haven't lived under post-war America or under that stuff where when Reagan, Thatcher, Blair, Latham, when neoliberal economics really took over, like rational, fucking hell, economic rationalism. That's the word took over, and because I was part of the fight in the early 2000s to stop. Thank you. Is that a compliment? Do you like my chicken? Oh, we've got some Twitchies here. Wow, that's cool. Oh my God, that's really cool that Twitch is here because I just used Twitch as a secondary thing. Sorry, okay, so. Oh, Mr. Zen Ninja's good. That's good. I get to tell you what's wrong with kids today. No, not really. I love the kids today. Yes, and also they haven't lived under I'm trying to diagnose this problem. And again, if something comes out of this content, I can edit it down, but I'm going through this in more detail and Stuck in the Middle series. But so they first of all haven't lived. So this is where my book comes in. I actually finished the intro to my book, which is fucking fantastic. I have been sitting on this thing for a decade, but now I think I have, through personal insight and memoir, through personal experiences like what I was talking about with the mother mailing list and being on the forefront of digital, but also on the back end of sort of social democracy. It's good to have you. This is a little bit political, Zen Ninjas, but I'd love for you to, yeah, that's so great. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, yeah, and I really want to tell these stories because they really are microcosmic examples of where I think we have gone wrong, but also how we can get better. Because I do have that, it's like that weird alignment of everything. That nothing has made sense to me about where I fit in the world. My entire career, my life, the existential crisis that I had last year when I got sick. It's nothing like yours, B, but you know, like what. I just realized that I have no time left. I'm 4, and I turned 40 not long after, and I said, okay, what am I going to do that actually, and I think I can diagnose and solve some of these problems, or at least provide you with some laughs and some stories that might inspire other people to have ideas and solutions. I'm such an IDW groupie. I know that sounds weird, but I would love if anybody knows anybody who can introduce me to Peterson's new project, and that tech project, and they want UX work, and they want a product and UX person, please introduce me. I want to work on the new platform, and I want to be someone who does some good, because despite what your personal feelings are about Jordan Peterson and those people, I'm such, you know what, I have such a crush on Brett Weinstein, but that's because he reminds me of Paul. Like Paul is yeah. Anyway, so this is a call out to anybody who can hook me up with the IDW people. I want to help them. I'm a designer, and I know they've probably got resources, but I want to work with them. I want to help them do this because I have such a world of experience, you know. PSN. What do you mean by that? Oh, you mean IDW? No. Anyway, PSN is PlayStation Network. I'm not playing. Yeah, bye. What was I going to say? Please. Oh no, they do have weird crushes. Brett Weinstein. I've always been a stickler for quiet, smart men. As you can tell, I'm quite chatty, and my husband is he's basically like Brett Weinstein. Oh my God, Paul's going to kill me for saying this. He sleeps like Sheldon Cooper. Have you ever seen like Big Bang Theory? He sleeps like he's in a coffin. It's the funniest thing. And it was just, and he also, if you watch the interview with Dave Rubin and Eric and Brett Weinstein, sorry, not Weinstein, Weinstein. He sits like dead still and freezes because you can tell that he's sort of just spacing out and shit, and he's super smart, and I love him. He just reminds me, but I realized why I had a crush on Brett, and that's because he reminds me of my beautiful, wonderful, smart husband who is simultaneously the best developer I've ever met, the best person I've ever met, and also he's inventing things. He's like solving fucking shit that he's so crazy smart, and I love it. Anyway, so for his yeah. Anyway. Barenstein. What does that mean? IDW. Oh, you okay? So the intellectual dark web it's funny. It was initially a joke, but it's not a joke. So the court stands for the intellectual dark web. I'm not sure how old you are, Zen Ninjas. Forgive me, guys. I'm enjoying the fact that there's a kid on my channel and I can help this. This is great. I love the fact that there's someone from Twitch on here. Sorry, I will get to your other stuff. The intellectual dark web is adults who have lost their jobs because of cancel culture. So they might be working as a teacher or a professor, or they might be in comedy or like a professor, and they are people who have like stood up to activists, and they've subsequently like lost their jobs. Okay. And so it's basically become a bit of a joke that they are the dark web of the internet because they have made friends with each other, and but they're all academics, so they've all like doctors and PhDs and highly respectable people in their fields, and basically they've been kicked off Twitter and all of it, various other things. And but yeah, if you might have heard of Jordan Peterson because he's do some googling. It's really interesting stuff. But your generation, I think, will be kind to these guys, and they're really worth interest. Like biologists, they're really interesting people to talk to. Yeah. Berenstain Bears. Oh wow, how do you know what that is? Okay. Anyway, sorry, B. So what did you mean by Weinstein typical? I'm curious about that. Oh, Weinstein typical. No, no, no. No, they're actually really nice guys. And what's interesting, what I find weird about that whole thing is that they're the people that should be famous. And the only reason they are famous at the moment is because of cancel culture and because this weird cancel culture at social media made them famous. But they're people that have really great accomplishments in their own right. And if anything, the IDW sits there as an example of what's backward about the world as well, in my view, which is that Eric's a mathematician, Brett's a evolutionary biologist, Jordan Peterson is a psychologist, there's comedians and media people. Yeah. Well-respected people, and they're the people that we should actually be listening to, the reasonable ones. And the great irony, and that's why we were the IDW, because they got sort of cancelled by idiots. No matter how, see, the thing is that no matter how you feel about the individual issues that are divisive, like for me, the gender issue, I've spent 2 years researching this. It doesn't hold any water. It's just another version of the goth versus pop versus skate versus fucking grunge shit that we went through, right? But unfortunately, there's a permanent modification going on. Yes, I know. I feel that way, obvious enigma. I'm actually sitting here and I was like, I really would love to be cancelled because I've got a notebook full of material ready. I do. Do you know what's weird though? Since I started speaking up about gender, I fully expected to cop shit, and I haven't. And I don't know whether it's just because I haven't been particularly targeted, or I'm not, not significant enough. But I'm not kidding. It's my real name. You can easily find my address because I've got a business. I run the business. You've got my LinkedIn. I don't actually put I don't put my portfolio or anything online because I don't want clients affected. But for the most part, I haven't had any hate. And that's what I'm finding interesting, and I've been studying because I think maybe there's a specific conduct that seems to be falling afoul, or they're coming for me. That's what I'm waiting to see. So I'm courting this. Yeah, that's what I figured. Like I tweeted my address last week. I'm not kidding. Because I just went, fuck it. Because, it's available. So I just thought, but it's funny to me. And no one's going to come here anyway. I don't give a shit. And if they do, then that's fine. So, yeah, Magdalene Burns is fantastic. She's currently in hospice, and that's very, very sad because she's done really great work, and yeah, I think men should go their own way. I think that's great. I think men who make the decision to, as long as they don't use it, obviously under a veil of attacking women, then I think that's why I will defend Jordan Peterson. I'll defend. Do you know what I will defend? I don't agree with everything that Jordan Peterson says. I don't agree with anything I fucking say. because that's how ideas are. Like I constantly hold two thoughts in my mind and try to figure it out. The one thing the proof is in the pudding with Jordan Peterson. He's not creating a group of incels. He's actually bringing them back from the brink of that shit, of that, that extreme fucking stuff. You know? Thank you, Zen Ninjas. You're very kind. That's sweet. But if I, I've got a couple of people who have literally like scolded me for defending anything Jordan Peterson says, and I sit there and I go, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" It's it's complete ad hominem attack because he has done. Yeah, but no, the thing is, this is the thing I don't understand. This is how it has to be a cult. This is how it absolutely has to be a cult, because these are smart people, right? But I have people who go, and I say, well, feminism is blah, blah, blah. And then it is, oh, but Judith Butler. And I say, yes, but that's Judith Butler. And I have read Judith Butler. It's highly offensive, this idea that I don't actually know. It's very weird. Like, there's people that, Judith Butler is like the Dianetics of this group, and I can't think of there's a couple of the decolonizing ones as well. Again, I'm an ally. I don't like the word ally now. The word ally has been ruined. I am sympathetic to decolonization of history. I absolutely agree with the foundation of that theory, and I support it. But if you fucking call me a white supremacist because I suggested that maybe it was hard to find fucking stock photos that weren't insulting or naff, and that I'm doing the best I can in my little bit, that's going to alienate me from you. I wanted to actually, this is something that I want to interview, talk to a friend about. Kerry, I want to get Kerry from Unsafe Space on here, but I want to talk to her about how we've kind of also gotten a little bit of a dose of karma, in the sense that my feminism in the last year or two has really, I've become laser focused on what that actually means, because I did fall into that intersectional fucking slippery slope at one point, and I realized that I was in this is an apology to a lot of the men that I've interacted with, where I know how it feels now to not be able to fucking win, no matter what you say. I used to use that Kafka trap on men, and I don't anymore. I still don't believe men. I still believe. I still will call out, condescending stuff and sexist stuff, but I really am careful about that trap, that circular ad hominem, and making sure that I just stick to the argument now. It's and also vulnerable, B. And this is something that I'm observing, and I've got to be really careful here, because obviously people will always think I'm talking about them, especially this crew. They'll think I'm targeting them specifically. I'm not. I'm talking generally. There is a correlation between, and this is something I want to write down or make a video specifically on, which is that, do you remember how it used to be like evangelical Christian, where Ben Folds' song, Not the Same, you took a trip and came down a Christian, right? And became born again, and you weren't the same. Very, very similar. But the born again, those evangelical churches, they prey on those that are going through some sort of spiritual crisis or mental health crisis or life crisis, post-divorce. They have problems with alcohol, and they become born again, and it saves them. I can't help but notice an anecdotal pattern. This is anecdotal. This is not data, but people that are in the most severe mental state and and that I know who are struggling with most severe mental health issues are also the ones that are falling for this shit hook, line and sinker, because it seems to provide them with answers that aren't the answers, which I know this because I've been through a mental breakdown and an emotional breakdown, and I know that the hard part is the work. It's really, you got to do the fucking work and look at yourself in the mirror. The answer's in the mirror. The answer is not in blaming others. But yeah, so I strongly believe that this is a new evangelical fundamentalist. Well, fundamentalist by definition, they're a fundamentalist cult because they want to control government. They think government's role is to police people with their religion. So fundamentalist woke cult. I truly believe it. It meets the definitions. And Judith Butler is their Dianetics, and Roxanne Gay is their Jesus, right? Or whoever. You know what? I try to read these people, but there comes a point where it just becomes too enraging. Alternative healers, and it's very weird because I see these people bullying anti-vaxxers, and they're the same people. They're the same. Everyone is immune to this brainwashing, right? And the thing is that most of these ideas, they all come from. There's always a grain of truth in all of these things, right? The way that the Church of Scientology operates. Oh yeah, the way that the Church of Scientology operates is that they, the first thing they do is an audit. They find your weak spots, right? How do you not? How is identity politics not the same thing? It's the Church. I call it Church of Woke. I actually own. Oh, by the way, there is a Twitter handle I've registered at churchatwoke.com at Church of Woke with a QUE, and I do own the domain because I do want to do something with it, but I just don't have time. But I do. Yeah, it's a side project. But what was I going to say? But what they do is they do an audit. They find out all of your stuff. And the thing about the Church of Woke is that, and the thing that pisses me off about this is this idea that in order to participate in this political movement, I need to share my sexuality, my private thoughts, my childhood, all the things that I consider they're my story, but they're not. People aren't entitled to them in order to have an argument. My argument should stand in its own right. My identity, that's private information. If I want to declare that I'm autistic and ADHD, which I do, it's fine, then that's up to me. It's not something that I do to get points. It provides some lived experience and a perspective that might be worth listening to. But it doesn't mean that it's not an argument. My identity is not an argument. My identity is just my story. And my story is different to Paul is on the spectrum. His story is different to my story. His experience of autism is different to mine because we experience them differently. I pass as neurotypical, and that's fine. And so, that's fine. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that when you look at this identity politics, how is it not an audit? How are they not demanding that you declare not only where your oppression is, but where your privilege is? Because eventually they will use that stuff that your privilege, if you want to acknowledge your privilege and talk about how you are privileged, it will be weaponized against you. How is this not like the Church of Scientology? Right? How is it? And then you'll be deemed an SP. You are alienated from your friend group. Like that beautiful Sarah Rao whose friend circle fucking, got rid of her because she was part of a cult because they wouldn't get rid of their whiteness. How do you do that, by the way? Do you get rid of whiteness with blackface? No, I don't think that's the answer. Do you dress in hip-hop clothes? Always, how do I get rid of whiteness without culturally appropriating? It makes no fucking sense. Anyway, my point is, don't fucking declare your privilege to these people because they will use that against you later. And it is a cult. And they're a fundamentalist cult. Right? Yeah. And I don't like using moral decay because I think that's a slightly loaded term, but it's not a coincidence that that traditional Christianity and other religions have decreased in number, and this intersectional bullshit is on the rise, right? And it's also not a coincidence that it became in poor taste to harass women online. And there's a bunch of men harassing women online who now identify as women and trans and are now part of a protected group. That's not a coincidence, okay? Absolutely not a coincidence. Yeah, and there is no monolithic whiteness. But the problem is that a lot of it is based on prejudice and snap judgments anyway. Like, and I yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and it's okay. You can, but again, that's that whole idea that you can't have experience. You can't talk about an idea or have an opinion on an idea or have thoroughly, have you read, like, I read a book when I was younger, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. Like, that broke me, that book. I studied Aboriginal history in Australia, and that broke me. How am I not allowed to at least, and if I'm listening intently, I'm apparently not allowed to speak. I'm not allowed to offer a perspective or when I was a social worker, we used to do culture sharing, right? And it was an exchange, right? And that's fantastic. I learned so much. Like, I didn't enjoy the roux tale because I don't like roux. But in today's like, we would do those cultural exchange things with Aboriginal workers, because we work a lot on the ground with Aboriginal kids in welfare, obviously. I could just imagine me not liking the roux tale would have been fucking a fireable offence today, but it wasn't that. I don't like red meat. And it's just like, the answer isn't racist. The answer is that I just don't like roux. It's a simplest solution. Yeah, and I do like to bully bullies sometimes as well. I agree. Yeah. Oh, sorry, B. Okay, I love you. Don't do that. Stop saying that. You morbid fucker. Oh my God, these are my friends. The friends that can laugh. You're just like, fuck that. Yeah, so anyway. But yeah, you know what? I'm trying to be not, I'm trying to analyze this and understand, because because if I follow this through its logical conclusion, if this is a cult, right? The cults have victims, and I am seeing it, and I see, so having some compassion for that, and welcoming them. I think, you know what, this can't last long. It can't last long. Most reasonable people don't fucking think that men can be biological women. They just don't. Most people don't buy, this stuff. Most people have the view. They go, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. You do you. Most people have that view. Most people have the view of, you do you. Don't fucking threaten me. And I just want a quiet, peaceful, happy, fair existence. That's what most people want, right? As Tim Pool said, what did he say? They want a funny show and a chicken sandwich. I really like that line. Most people just want to watch a funny show and a chicken sandwich. Anyway, so what was I talking about? I fucking digressed massively, because I was talking about how I think we got here. But oh yeah, and I was also wanting to talk about. I wanted to show you my poll. I'm running a poll. I didn't end up showing. That was supposed to be the beginning of the fucking stream. So this is my current poll, right? It's a good segue, but go ahead and vote. I'm being silly. I'm doing silly things. Let me move this over so that we can still see that, right? Because I really think that it's going to implode. I really do, because they cancelled ContraPoints, who is a fucking... So what's weird, what's funny here, it's, those puzzles where you have to move all of the squares. Remember those puzzles, like kids won't remember, but those puzzles that used to have where you move the squares left and right and up and down to try and make things line up? That's what identity politics is like. And it's fucking weird to watch. It's a weird phenomenon, because, the gender critical feminists, I don't like these labels, because it just creates a team. Again, they're not a monolith, right? Yeah, okay. But the gender critical feminists generally are highly critical of ContraPoints, as is Magdalene Burns, because ContraPoints is a transsexual, recent transsexual. And yeah, it is a bit like Tetris, but it's more like those fucking things with the balls, and it's more frustrating than that. Although Tetris does speed up, so you can't win at some point. So maybe that is accurate. But I'm making this poll. All right. Let's have some fun. It's going to implode. It's going to be left with them. So let's have a bet on what color their hair is going to be. So I thought that was quite funny. So go ahead and vote. That's the poll of the week. I'll put the results up next week. Yes, I know, and that's the irony of this is that, and this is what where I was going with that enigma, which was that bullying the bully. But when you just kind of sit back, and there's a point where it just becomes funny, and you get out your popcorn and you go, okay, because that's the thing when you are in a mob, eventually the mob runs out of fucking people to hunt. So they start going after the lowest. They're a mob. They just keep moving. That's what Antifa do. They just keep moving the bar, right? In case anybody wants to know where I got this mug, there's a number of Simpsons mugs if you're in Australia, they're at Zing, which is EB Games' loot thing. They've got a couple of stores, but they've also got them online. So anyway, Zing have some Simpsons stuff. But yeah, sorry, one thing that I want, when you participate, and that's one thing that's what I was talking about before, about how you kind of feel that dose of karma because at some point you've done that. I used to do that. You know, I've lost a couple of male friends that just, I mean, not really, but I did that. Especially with my husband. I think it's more when there's a real personal relationship at stake. Everything is mansplaining and everything is sexism and everything is emotional labor. And you can't, it's just like, fuck. And I end up being a bit of a bully in that regard. Now I see, having been on the receiving end of that, what that's like. And that's what I hope is going to happen, right? With ContraPoints, who has participated in that cancel culture, right? It takes, and I think Megan Murphy went through this as well, and Alicia Henley, who I interviewed, and a few other people, where they realized, they kind of went, whoa, okay, that's what this thing is. First they came for the Nazis, then they came for the people they thought were Nazis, then they came for the feminists, then they came for this, and then they came for my own, and then they came after me, and there was no one left. Right, that's what's going to happen. I can't remember the quote. You know the quote that I'm talking about. So yeah, it's. See, I don't use the wrong pronouns. I respect people. I do. I treat people like they want to be treated. But if you're bullying somebody, I'm going to have a front row seat and a big bag of popcorn, and I'm going to enjoy it. And then I'm going to say, now you know how it feels, and let's have can we now have a conversation? That's what I'm hoping, is that people will just keep tipping over. Now, one thing I have noticed is that the gender critical Reddit subreddit is exploding. And that is something where it's just like, it's getting more and more subscribers. And so that's susceptible to red pill within interpersonal relationships. What do you mean by that? You mean in terms of like red? I say I'm a bit confused because some people use the term red pill now for the opposite of woke, which is so that more general kind of de-woking. Do you mean red pill as in the men's rights red pill subreddit, like with the pickup artists, PUA, the strict definition, or do you mean it in the what sense do you mean it in? Because yes, unfortunately, women are very vulnerable to negging, and I hate it. I think it's disgusting. I don't like the darker parts of those pickup artist stuff. I think that, but I also see the role in it. I like anything. Again, that book, pickup artist book, it's actually really an interesting read. I've been dated between my divorce and my marriage, and quite a lot. And I think getting an insight into that really made me, as a feminist, I think it's worth reading. It's actually really interesting. Big but de-woke. Okay, yeah. honestly, I think there's actually some credence to that, which is being in a healthy relationship with a partner who actually treats you well makes you see things differently. I think because I was in a really, really bad, not my marriage, but in between my first marriage and my second marriage, I was in a really, really fucked up situation. And and that was when I really went full feminist. I was always a feminist in the traditional second wave sense, but I went full intersectional feminism, as in blaming the patriarchy, because it seemed like a way to make excuses for him and the way he behaved. So, but then I got into a healthy marriage and I started to explain, and like my husband was like, he found out, he said I was a feminist. He goes, "What are you?" He's like, he's from Toowoomba, man. He's like, he don't give a fuck. He's like, "What? You're a feminist? Oh my god, I hate those people." It's like, no, 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 no. I mean, in the educated sense, I'm a, I believe in blah blah blah. And there are some things where he's watched me be a woman in business and see me treated differently. He works with women, and he's been aware of the fact that those little things where, men address the man in the room even though the woman's talking, or they assume that she's the assistant, or ask her for tea and coffee. Those sorts of things, right? He's noticed those. But because we've got a very healthy relationship, there's been an exchange of ideas, right? Versus a power struggle. And I think that on some level, maybe I think that's a really, really interesting point, that when you're in a bad relationship, you're looking, again, when you're in a bad relationship or a bad place, or in a bad economic position or bad mental health, it's so easy to have an external answer, or an easy answer, or find a book that gives you the easy answer. The hard answer is to leave that relationship, and do the work on yourself, and, all of those sorts of things, rather than blaming microaggressions and patriarchy for a person. So that's actually a really, really interesting point, right? And I'm hoping that we can actually, and one thing is also just making sure that we clearly define things, because I don't, because obviously the word red pill has baggage associated with it. Around, yeah, you know what? Like, I don't believe anyone who says anyone's a fucking hate group anymore. I'm serious. You could say the KKK are a fucking hate group, and I would have to fucking go and look and see if there are sources. That's how the thread's been pulled out of my fucking politics, and it's just completely unraveled. I don't know what's what anymore. Sorry, hang on. Let me just have a quick. I've been monologuing without. Being in a close relationship with extremely fucked up females shines a spotlight on the limitations of blaming. Yeah, well, can I be honest and say that before I met sort of more radical feminists, and I want to make sure that the definition is clear here. Radical means get to the root cause, not radical as in extremist, just for those that aren't familiar. But before I met I thought that, like, these fucking liberal feminists, I hate them. They're awful. They and toxic and judgmental, and I never really got along with other women very well, and I couldn't articulate why, and it was because they were not like me. It was a lib fem rad fem clash. I realised that. And I can get along with anybody, but at the same time, there's just something about this Spice Girls. It started with the Spice Girls, this girl power shit. I just go, like, it's such a distraction from the issue. Maybe because I grew up with a very innate sense of class consciousness. Even before I knew the class consciousness was a word, I knew that I was like not. It's. Yeah, I can't. I'm finding it more and more difficult to relate. I can deal with people who don't care about this stuff, but I find it extraordinarily difficult to relate to women who are, in this fucking church right now. I find it very difficult. But most of the damage that has been done to me over the years has been bullying by other women. I've always gotten along better with men. I think that's partially to do with being autistic, and just like not fucking. I don't understand the intricacies of female shit and dynamics. I've yeah. Anyway, but I'm comfortable with second wave feminism, which is, you know, economic, political rights for women, equal rights, and emancipation, and liberation. And I am going to use my platform to try and help with that. But yeah, it's interesting. Anyway. Yeah, and well, I think and that's sort of where it started. I really believe that dichotomy between the MRAs and the third and the extreme liberal Jezebel versus the red pills, right? I think that's where it started. A lot of this stuff, and you know, Gamergate obviously was where that. But it started. I've been on the internet for a very long time, and it started very young with the feminist publications on Reddit. And the scary red pills, right? The scary and the pickup artists. You know, I still find like Return of Kings pretty vile. I think most people do, but I think that at some point, I remember watching. There was this thing on the ABC. Sorry, I know I'm fucking digressing, but I may as well just keep talking. Where Clem Ford, Australia's feminist representative, was in a debate with a MRA, and they weren't the best representatives, because what I actually saw was that they were actually saying the same thing. They just weren't speaking the same language. They weren't using the same words, same definitions, you know. And because I'm a feminist, but I'm also the mother of boys, and I'm also in a healthy marriage, I find it, you know, it's easier to fight than it is to push through and talk and be wrong. You know, I've had to learn to admit that I'm wrong more in order to stay happy. And I think that maybe maybe a good angle actually is, you know, what they do in marriage counselling, where they say, you know, would you rather be happy or right? I think that maybe that's worth thinking about. Yeah, Gamergate. Yeah, it was fucking. I want to actually again. It's on my backlog. So okay, let me explain. What I planned on doing was doing a podcast and doing live streams and having guests. I started doing it, and then I realized I sucked on video. And I needed to feel comfortable live streaming and talking and being able to do a podcast and speak without stuttering and all of that stuff. You may have noticed I've gotten quite a bit better with practice. So what I've done is I put all these guests on hold that I'm going to talk about, but they're coming. So there's a guy called James, and he is Grim, and he was on Andrea's channel, The Other 95, and he talked about Gamergate. I suggest you look at that. I'll put a link for that to that video in the description. But it was very educational for me, because when Gamergate happened, I was on the other side. And, well, I couldn't say I was on the other side, because I've never really, first of all, I'm too busy for fucking pylons. I don't have time. Second of all, I'm still a fairly reasonable person. I'm an observer and participant in a sense where, but yeah, so I observed both sides of Gamergate, but I didn't understand the other side and the history of it so much. So I'm going to try and get him on. I haven't forgotten. It's just, I kind of hit the pause button for a while until I was able to more succinctly and confidently do this stuff and get the tech working, because I didn't want to have guests on and be fucking around. So, because I don't want to. I actually respect people who give me their time, especially on this little channel right now. So, that would be great. I'm actually really interested in that, because I really want to figure out how we can start talking more again and figure out what we have in common. Because I truly believe, and especially when you're on the, I don't know if you're old school internet, Mr. Enigma, but we used to be able to have these flame wars and then go home at the end of the day and still be friends. It was a sport. There was some sportsmanship in internet debate. It wasn't so highly personalized and toxic. Um, like I used to, I admin a lot of fan forums and stuff like that, and um, it was my job at one point to manage community, and when all was said and done, Mum would come in, but you were still brothers. Yeah, it was there was still that, and maybe we need to get back to that. Yeah, yeah, I miss, and that's one thing. That's why I really do enjoy. Unfortunately, Reddit's fucking going down the shitter as well, but I do enjoy Reddit more because there does seem to be, unless you're fucking gender critical, then you got no fucking hope. But generally speaking, it would be it is good to talk to the other side, and I think that those of us that I think we do have a responsibility to all just start speaking to the other side as much as we can and facilitating conversations, and that's what I want to do, because and I don't give a fuck if people think that I've gone right. I haven't. I just think the fucking woke left are idiots and they're a cult, and I'm not going to be part of their cult. I am who I am, but I'm hoping that if we can just have more conversations, and I don't even want to say in the center because it's meaningless. I don't give a fuck if it's an anarchist and a fascist having a conversation. They should still be having a conversation. We're not trying to bring people ideologically anywhere. I want people to be able to speak to each other and disagree and still walk away in disagreement, but still respect each other. And that's really like, I think some people have gotten the wrong side of the coin, I think, with this whole trying to win people over or convince them or debate them. It's like, well, no, we don't want to have a debate. I want to have a discussion. And it's okay if we go away with the exact same position that we had before. But maybe let me finish. That was actually the name of the podcast I wanted to do, which was this, where people can actually just finish. Like, you know what? There's a show in Australia called Q&A, and I don't watch it. I don't watch these stupid panel shows where it's about point scoring and everyone's cheering you on Twitter and it's bullshit. That's not what politics should be, and that's not what society should be. That's not what a community is. That's another version of fucking like sports. It's a blood sport, and I don't like blood sports. So, but politics has become like a boxing ring match rather than a game of tennis or, I don't know, I'm trying to think of my metaphors. But, politics should be more about ballet than boxing. I don't know. Did that work? Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. I don't think that it is the fault of the tech companies. I think it's just human nature. And I think that there's going to be dogpile's going to dogpile. And I think we need to just consider that the price of admission and try to win people over differently with ideas. I don't think that bringing mum and dad in to fix this in the form of censorship or is going to fix this. What's going to happen if we fix it so that people can't speak? It means that they're going to not be able to speak, and they're going to go further and darker and deeper into resentment. They're just going to radicalize and be angrier and not have somebody go, hey, and reach out their hand and go, you know what? I was you. Let's have a conversation. What's actually affecting you? And that's why again, to circle back, you got to give it to Jordan Peterson. His message is good. When he talks about politics, nobody knows everything. I don't know anything about fucking empirical psychology, whatever the fuck he does. I don't know that. I'm not a clinical psychologist. I don't talk about that. But I really like that he seems to have done some really good work with young men, and I think that's good. you know, and women as well, like women like Jordan Peterson as well, and turning him like there's this man hating bullshit. Like there are good men out there, not many. No, that's it. No, I'm saying. I was online dating before I met my husband, and I know there's a lot of really fucking poorly behaved men out there, but there are some good ones, and there are good ones, but women also need to fucking stop being cunts and looking at things like salary and charisma and, you know, all of those things, all those superficial things like a checklist. And men need to stop doing the same, because everyone that I've ever sort of hasn't met my requirements in some way. That's the beauty of falling in love, is that it's random and amazing and chemical, right? Anyway, I wandered off again. But there's something to be said for just sitting down and going, okay, so what's up? What's in your thoughts? You know, I get a bit annoyed with Jordan Peterson because he does annoy me, because some of the things that he says I don't agree with, or like this cultural Marxism stuff. When he wanders into Marxism town, it's kind of I kind of see what he's saying, but again, he's taken one view and run with it, and it's not. He kind of As a politician, Jordan Peterson is an excellent clinical psychologist. There we go. No, I'm just saying, it's just, I don't like us and them. I think at this point we've got really big problems, and I think that it's more about us. So anyway, that was my roundabout way of explaining why I haven't had interviews and why I'm just doing these live streams at the moment, because I'm trying to get better on camera and get the tech right. Only YouTube comments work, which is really fucking annoying, I think. I don't know, because my comment didn't come through from Facebook, but whatever. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, and also the other thing I want to do is just kind of pivot my agency work a little bit into providing digital services for those that are caught in the net. Haha, you like that? Dolphins. It's called the Dolphin Project, and it's for those that have been caught up in the algorithm, but they're also on the net. It's a good little fucking thing, isn't it? So I've got one client that I'm working with at the moment, who are YouTube channel and podcast, and I'm basically helping them to decentralize their so that they own their web presence. And so that they can be supported across multiple channels, so that if for some reason they get switched off, they've at least got a contingency and can just tell their people to go off here, support me here, and not put all your eggs in one basket. And so hopefully I can use my digital agency, SEO, design and all that stuff skills for some good with those people. So I'm excited about that. I really want to provide that product. But yeah, so I finished my book intro. I'm doing that. I'm also doing client work, of course. But that's paying the bills, and it's good. But yeah, so yeah, Peter. Yeah, I don't honestly. People hate him. Do you know what? Do you know who I've noticed hates Jordan Peterson? And why the woke hate Jordan Peterson? The people who benefit from being woke, and the people who benefit from not cleaning their own rooms. Right? Honestly, I think those who hate Jordan Peterson, there's some dissonance going on. And the people who react this way are the ones who react completely predictably. So they react like this way when I talk about Joe Rogan, and this way when I talk about gender, and this way when I dare mention the, lobster boy. And and it's weird, because you would think that people who were actually critical thinking would have a non-predictable view on something, but they don't. So it's almost data at this point, that if A then B, if I say this, then this person will comment. And I've actually told a couple of people, just don't bother, because I'm not engaging with, you explaining feminism to me. I've read more fucking feminist books than anybody else. And I spent 3 years deep diving into this fucking stuff, into gender, and including papers, and then going, but Judith Butler, no, that's not a rebuttal, right? Okay. Yes, but Judith, you go, that's basically like going, but Jesus. It doesn't fucking mean anything. You're doing the exact same shit as fucking evangelical Christians do. But Jesus said, okay, but, what about everyone else? Jesus said it. It must be true. You're like, no, that's not how it works. You're in a cult. Okay, so hang on. What do we got? People lack purpose as long as that is true. Yeah, absolutely. And that is inherently linked to, and I'm not talking about woo purpose. You can actually diagnose, ironically, you can diagnose this through a true Marxist lens. When you actually look at class, when you look at capitalism and the fact that people's work is dominated, or life is dominated by work, and I think automation is good in the sense that once we push through this problem, that we will get to the point where there just isn't work for people, and hopefully they will find purpose. I'm desperately hoping that nobody feels that it's rational to fucking wipe out a bunch of people. That would, but yeah. Oh, thanks, Flickr. That's great. I love you. Enjoy. Oh. I'm not familiar with Camille Paglia. But yeah, I've seen the name. I wish I could keep up with this. Sure. If you go to my Patreon, I have Vixen, Can I Lick Your Teeth? Yes, I have a $250 a month Patreon, which means if you subscribe for $250 a month, you're allowed to jerk off to me. So maybe you might be interested in that product. Otherwise, fuck off. $2.50. Oh, nah. You can just, that's fine. Anyway, looks like Twitch has turned up. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Oh, this is fun. I got some trolls. No one wants to jerk off to you. That's a good thing. Thank you. They'll leave me alone. That's good. See, Vixen's not aware that they've actually met someone who has self-esteem and has probably been on the internet longer than they've been alive. Yep, that's good. Yeah, I think you could benefit from reading some Jordan Peterson, couldn't you? Okay. First of all, I'm Australian. Yay! That's a milestone. How do you have smell-o-vision, Vixen? Stinky, fucked up teeth. I have one crooked tooth, yes. And I'm due for a scale and clean. Yeah, well, you can't. That costs $25,000 a month on my Patreon. And I'm pretty sure you don't have $25,000 a year. Come on, troll. If it gets boring, I'll block them. I'm just delighted that I got my first troll. That's great. Can I have my hair? Have my hair. No, I'm pretty sure that there's somebody in the developing world who might be a bit more affordable. That's a thing. It's an industry. No. There is no way in hell you're getting my DNA, mate. Ask your mum. I knew Twitch was a good idea. Don't worry, this is going to get boring soon, isn't it? I want to have shit on your penis. All right, well, do a shit and put your penis in it. Fuck shit, I don't care. Whatever. Yeah, that would be creepy, but I'd laugh. Right? I have actually, literally, I took that there as a joke, which is that the joke is that if you are paying me 15 grand a month, you're officially on a retainer, which means you are officially a client, which means that you get to have a say in what I do and say. Otherwise, nah. Stick it in your ear. Wow, this guy's material. We've got Vixen and Dave Chappelle this week. I don't know. It's the craftsmanship of this kid. Hopefully that's not my son being a shithead. It might be. I hope you have a good day too, Pookie. All right, Vixen. Have fun. You're ruining my stream. I don't think Vixen knows how body holes work. I don't think he knows that you can't actually stick things in ears. You're not even supposed to put... Or, unless your dick's the size of a Q-tip, then you can do that. I use Q-tips a lot, so I'm well stretched. I also have in-ear headphones, so, you know, I should be able to fit your tiny little Q-tip penis in there. That's fine. Okay. We should do... Oh, my God, my son live streams on Twitch. We should do a... Mum roasts the Twitch boy gamers. Oh my God, Borderlands 3 is out next week, and I'm actually going to live stream playing Borderlands 3. I should roast the fucking kids that are on there. That'd be fun. Stick it in my ear versus alphabet people. It's a no-brainer. I know, right? Poo on his penis. Quality. Oh, fucking hell. Anyway, Troll Slayer. That's funny. I think has this stream gone on too long? I got to nothing that I wanted to talk about. Because I wanted to share this thing where actually I was quickly talking about Borderlands 3. This is worth sharing actually. Because this fucking story came up. Hang on, let me camera right. No, that's not what we want. Weird. Where are we? Where's the fucking screen? Google Chrome, that one. This article, right? Look at this. How the fuck? Come here. I just find this whole fucking thing absolutely ridiculous. Right? This is where we've got to. And I'm not saying that this wasn't stupid, okay? I'm not saying that this wasn't completely, it wasn't an overreaction. Like I posted this on Facebook and someone was like, you know that it's just their terms of service, right? And I said, yes, I know, but this is where we are. This is not a commentary on misgendering necessarily, even though I think that it's a fucking load of shit. It's a comment on the fact that this is a fucking article in the first place. So it's not, it's just, it's how this has entered our culture, right? So what happened is that basically Gearbox, I'm going to read it out. Gearbox has spoken out about the game's character FL4K, who's one of the main playable characters, who's been announced as having a preferred pronoun of they, right? And the company, they said that basically it's on the forums, so the Gearbox forums, and internet being internet, I imagine what's happened here, that the kids have just been going, oh, it's they, oh, fucking, and then deliberately misgendering the character, right? Then obviously that's upsetting non-binaries on the forum, so they remind the community that that misgendering is the thing. I imagine that's what's happened. Again, I used to do community moderation. I know what's happened here. They just remind people of the rules. But this has then created an article, which is that it's just the fact that it's a fucking article. It's got nothing to do with the actual the issue. It's just how this has bled into our culture, and it's just and we were talking about Gamergate before. And a lot of this, that thing, I just wanted to play video games. I feel the same way. I just like Borderlands 3 and I am interested in this gender stuff, but they're separate things. I just wanted to fucking enjoy Borderlands 3 without these fuckwits polluting every aspect of our culture. Okay? I'm pretty sure that Flack, who is a robot, is they. Like, that's fine. Okay? But and yes, intentionally misgendering. It's absurd that you could intentionally misgender a robot, but it's not about that. It's about intentionally. I don't think it's a nice thing to do. I think it's fucking a dick thing to do, regardless of whether I think it's legitimate or not. I don't think it's a good thing to do. But there's an outrage article saying that it caused an uproar on Twitter because of No, Borderlands is a first-person shooter. Play Borderlands 2. It is the best game. It's so funny. I love it. I'm such a huge Borderlands 2 fan. You'll also, another game you might really like, if you like Xbox, if you have an Xbox or a console. So I'm just going to move this preview screen down because I keep looking up. We Happy Few. It launched with bugs and stuff, but it actually is really, I love it. It's very much based on Aldous Huxley and 1984, and it's got beautiful graphics and beautiful concept. The execution not so crash hot, but it's still really great. I love playing We Happy Few. Anyway, side point. So basically everyone cracked the shits because they went, oh well, now we can't misgender a robot on a game without being policed with gender. And it's like that probably wasn't what happened. Right, that definitely, I know how they just basically the moderators probably got complaints, and Gearbox just reminded people that misgendering is hurtful and to fucking pull their head in. I know how these kids go. We just had one in here, right? It's like they just say shit. So, but I just find it funny, the fact that this is just fucking news. And that when I posted it saying, this is fucking stupid, what is going on, that people assumed that I was reacting to the idea that it was misgendering, and then lectured me on, and it went into a spiral argument about whether misgendering is wrong and whether I agree with harassment. And I said, no, I'm commenting on the fact that this is a fucking article in the first place, that this is how we've gotten here, that this, my video yesterday where I talked about just clickbait, it's just fucking getting you to click. Right? The reason that I preview these things in here is because I just don't want to fucking give them any more money than it's absolutely necessary. But yeah, now they're sitting there going, regardless of the confusing nature of the story, we can't, it's inescapable. I just want to be able to I want to be able to walk forward in a game, let alone worry about pronouns. Sorry, I think the chat thing turned off. Hang on, give me a sec. Did it turn on? Is it on? Can we not see it? This is what Flickr said. Where's my fucking preview window? It's gone. Where is it? Chat is ready to display messages. Okay, it's not showing. Anyway, so Flickr said this, right? I just want to be able to walk forward in a game, let alone worry about pronouns. And that's how everybody feels about this. This is how we feel. And I don't know why, if this is up or not. That's fucking, oh, that's stupid. It's buggy. Okay, I'm turning it off. But I just want to keep going through this article just because I don't want to rant about it. But it's like people are weighing in. Do you know I looked at this. Do you know who's weighing in? 10 fucking people. 10 people. Oh, well, actually, as a non-binary, I think this is an important conversation to have. No, I think it's redundant and I think it doesn't matter. And I think that you have too much time on your hands. It's not that important. Borderlands 2, and I can guarantee, is a kick-ass game for women, right? Fucking Tiny Tina and Moxie. Moxie is a hypersexualized and fucking great, but she's powerful and smart and all that stuff. She owns all of the bars in town. She's great. Lilith is the head of the Crimson Raiders in Borderlands 3. It is, and it's just not enough, is it? It's just not enough to have amazing, strong, funny female characters. They have to fucking make it, they have to problematize this the one game that's actually half fucking decent. You got a big fat plus size Ellie who's proud of her sexuality. You got Tiny Tina who's a bomb expert, and it's fucking amazing. And in the new game, they've got female psychos, so you can definitely shoot female enemies in their head now, which you couldn't do. They were all male before, but now it's equal opportunity shooting. It's great. Fuck me. Like, can't we just play a game? Actually, you know what? I'm actually going to. Do you know what I'm going to do? I am going to declare Borderlands 2 to be a feminist game. If you play it, you'll get it, and it gets the stamp of approval, and it is not problematic in any way. It's great. It's fucking funny, right? And self-aware. So anyway, that's me ranting. Sorry, I ranted, and I'm excited for Borderlands 3 because it seems like Lilith is now in charge, and her story and her backstory is great. And I am so fucking sick. And now they're not happy with like some great equal treatment. They need to fucking add some more genderqueer fucking problems on top of it. Can't we just enjoy the fact that we got a great feminist game for a minute? My ranty bogan voice came out, didn't it? Well, programming gender into AI it's not AI necessarily. It's just the story of the characters. So I imagine that they're going to be... fucking Borderlands 2 is great. It's politically incorrect. That's why I was so surprised by this article, actually. I might actually edit this video down into something because what I found most interesting about Borderlands 2 was that they're so political, they don't give a fuck. And the fact that they don't give a fuck, and they have like things called midget boners as characters and bully mongs, and it's the Dave Chappelle. It's equal opportunity like roasting, and the fact that they on Borderlands 3 they were more inclusive on how many different people you can shoot. That's fantastic. Like, it's great. That's what we want, right? The ability to shoot everyone in the fucking face. Oh shit, that could be taken out of context in video games. It's like, oh my god, it's where's the fucking humor? So but I'm really looking forward to this. But the fact that this gender shit has polluted an otherwise pretty decent fucking video game, that is just it's a race to the bottom. This cordial is going to be problematized somehow. It probably already is because it's artificially sweetened. And probably it harks back to fucking Native American fucking oppression or something. I don't know anymore. Like, I'm just... You solve the problems you can solve. The rest is just a blog, right? Anyway, I ranted. But this article, so... I can raindrop it, but if you're going to purposely misgender flack, you're a dick. If you purposely misgender anyone, you're a dick. Trans rights. This was in the forum, right? No. It's a fucking robot character in a video game. And a movement that doesn't... Oh, please. I think you should spend less time on the internet and a little more time reading things. that are made of paper. But yeah, basically, yeah. Anyway, sorry. I know that I've just gone off a bit on this, but it is something that I just find very strange. Like the Calypso twins, right? These are the main enemies. Look how badass they are. And they're twins. They're 16-year-old twins, and I've seen some of the clips and the dynamic between them. There's actually a parasitic relationship between the boy and the girl, and she's the stronger one, and and so they're doing that. Like, is that not woke enough for you? Right? It's just like, fuck. I just wanted to play video games, and now I'm sitting here thinking about gender. It's like Doug Stanhope's bit about how I just want to watch football, and now I got to think about AIDS and breast cancer. I don't want to. I just want to enjoy my sports. It's like, fuck off. Go back to Tumblr. Go. You know what? Go to Tumblr. Talk about it all you want in your bubbles. Okay? Just, And us grown-ups, I'm going to circle back to the beginning of this live stream. Right? I'm going to circle right back to the beginning of this live stream. We're the parents of these children. We need to start saying no to them. We need to stop giving them power. We need to stop fucking pandering to them. The children are our future, yes, but they're fucking idiots. They got to grow up first, okay? I speak from experience. If you'd given me political power when I was outside of student politics, I would have done the exact same shit, as would the hippie movement before me and the fucking, everyone before us. You don't give children power. Stop listening. Okay? Jesus. Their passion's great, but you got to channel it into other things. They shouldn't be in government, and they shouldn't be like fucking... They should, okay, you know what they should be doing? Sitting on Tumblr, talking about queer fucking shit on video games and talking about movies. They should not have the power to cancel a working actor or a video game studio. They should be allowed to sit there and talk about it in the fandom, but they should not have influence or power, okay? That's where we've gone wrong, and that is very much linked to our inability to say no to these kids from the day they were fucking born. And not just that, and this is something that I didn't mention earlier in the live stream, which was the fact that they're the first truly digital native customers. They have been in my discipline, we could call it this customer-centric design or user-centric design. Literally, they are literally considered to be the center of the fucking universe by parents, by marketers, by tech companies, by everybody, and nobody is saying no. And that's Gen X's job, right? That's our job as parents to say no. You can't do that. Don't be an asshole. Okay? You don't know things. Me parent, you child. Okay? And we need to do that on a broader scale. So we're the ones that fucked up here. Claire Fox. Read Claire Fox. She talks about anti-bullying programs. It's not the kids. They actually grow up truly believing that being left out is bullying, or that words are bullying. You can't then bully them for believing what we taught them. Right? It's our fault for pandering and letting this shit slip through the cracks. So anyway, I hope that Oh, yeah, sorry. The chat stream's gone off, so I can't move left and right hand at the same time. But yes, I will check them out. But yeah, exactly. And Flickr just said the woke children would like to Soylent Green all of us. Absolutely, and that's why they can't have power, because that's how it is, and it's not anything against young people. I love it. Watching my kids experience the world and grow up, but they haven't had any adversity, right? They're facing it. They're definitely facing it. And a generation, Gen X, they're not going to have the prosperity of boomers, and Gen X are on the tail end of that. I don't see myself ever owning a house. It's just one of those things. But it's, yeah, my retirement plan, I'm a Gen Xer. My retirement plan is fucking is cyanide. Like, enough to afford a drug overdose and a party. That's really that's my retirement plan right now. With my business, I don't have any shit, but that's okay. But my point is that they're facing it, but they haven't lived it yet. They're facing adversity. They're the first generation that are sitting here thinking that the world is ending. Well, they're not the first generation, but they're the first generation to truly fucking believe it. If they're told that the world's ending, everyone acts like that. Like Flicker said, Walking Dead earlier. Have you seen The Walking Dead? Yeah, that's how people act in the apocalypse. It's every man themselves. Of course they're going to fucking do this stuff. But we need to turn around and go, okay, I want to have a talk to you about this. And I think that if you've got a friend who's in this church, you need to have a conversation with them and go, you know what, I really think you might be in a cult. And it's not that I disagree with your view. It's like you can agree with the ideas of Jesus without being a fucking evangelical Christian. It's the same idea. But I really think, if you think that someone's really been caught up in this, I think you need to have a conversation with them and say, okay, you know what, like, I think that you've been caught up in something that's not what it seems. And because I really do think we're seeing a first virtual religion play out. I really do. It's quite an interesting phenomenon, isn't it? What a remarkable time this is. It's remarkable. But yeah, I just want to play fucking video games. But this is what they should be doing. In this, the same. See what I'm saying? See the message I'm saying? On one hand, this shouldn't anger me because this is what the kids should be talking about, because that's what kids are supposed to do. They're supposed to fucking figure things out. But on the other, the fact that it has polluted every aspect of everything else, that I can't even enjoy a video game, makes me annoyed. The fact that this is an article makes me annoyed. The fact that someone is making money off of sharing this fucking bullshit clickbait, it's funny. I mean, shit fights, internet drama are my favourite fucking things. But at the same time, like, it's got to end. Like, we got to be able to have some fun. We've got to be able to laugh. And that's why, again, I don't know if the answer is to be an activist as such, right? I don't know if the answer is getting angry. I think the answer is setting boundaries, saying, I think you're wrong, saying, I don't think we should, I think we should actually just do that. I do think maybe it's I said these kids need parenting. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's just, we need to be parents and just set boundaries and say, no, I don't accept that. I believe you're wrong. Here's why. I'm not going to talk to you about this anymore. And just set that boundary and say, don't block them on Twitter, but don't engage with them either. So, and again, that comes down to that personal responsibility thing, not waiting for Twitter to come in and, because that's their whole mentality is like, mum and dad will fix it, and mum and dad is either literal mum and dad, or to jack at Twitter, or the state, or the companies. And it's like, no, I think it's up to every single individual that is online to moderate and self-regulate as much as possible, and turn around and go, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set boundaries, and I'm going to keep making jokes, and I'm not backing down. I will apologize if I'm wrong, because I do. I always apologise when I've overreacted to my kids, but I'll sit and I'll go, you know what? No, I'm not putting up with that. I've done that with my daughter when she cracked shits. I said, I'm not putting up with this. I'm not doing a tantrum. I don't respond to people who are having a tantrum. And so maybe that's what we can do, is actually just start being the adults in the room. And the fact that I'm the adult in the room. Yeah, same here, Flick. Yeah. Sorry, the comments have stopped working. I've got to figure this out. But what was I going to say? Yeah, I think. Well, yeah. Honestly, I think how you would parent a 4-year-old. They're having a meltdown in front of you, and sometimes they need a hug, but they also then need a hug afterwards, and they also need, so you set the boundary, you say, no, I'm not putting up with you, and you walk away, but then you re-engage them when they're calmed down, and you try to win them over that way. Maybe we need to just start being parents. There you go. As my fucking TED talk. Parent this generation. Have some personal autonomy and responsibility. And, and our role as parents is to make it not harder for them, as like not stand in their way and block them and hurt them and do anything that would actually, and keep them safe. That's our job. So maybe there's my thoughts for the day. It's weird that my best thoughts are always embedded 2 hours into a fucking stupid live stream. But there's some fun there. It's worth watching. I don't know. I think it's worth watching these. Maybe I should edit. Should I edit them down into little clips? I think so. But anyway. But yeah, I'm excited. It'd be good if I could make money doing this, and I wish I could afford to just sort of write my book full time and get that out and done and have that be my thing. But it's just one of those things. I think a lot of people are kind of in a Patreon glow at the moment in terms of monetization. I don't know if that's the right model for me. I'm thinking that maybe just the best way for people to help me would be to refer me for my consulting work. So like the agency and the digital consulting work for businesses who know what I do and are happy with this. It's in my contract anyway. Who are on board with Brandtaya, and I just make the money at the full rate there, and it subsidises this other side of my work. That's what because I don't see how. I don't know if the 1 million followers thing is a thing. I don't know, and I don't know whether the models are quite correct yet. That's why I'm putting myself through this. I'm putting myself through this to try and figure this out. So I'm trying to break this model, and I'm also working with a couple of people. I don't want to say. Sorry, I was hesitating about whether I say who they are or not, but I will tell you when they are. But there's a couple of people that I'm using as guinea pigs to try and build a platform, a process and platform that makes it easy for them to just bolt in and bolt out, bolt on, and add on and remove stuff as they need to. So, and also I can, and my marketing consulting, because there's people. The thing is with this group of unwoke is that there's people who really don't give a shit, and they have money. We're not all poor. Some of us have, can make a living wage and support each other. And I think that as a community of unwoke, it would be really good to support each other and support those who are brave enough to speak out and who are suffering demonetization as much as possible. I do have to budget my contributions, unfortunately, because I'm trying to reduce my work as well, and we're kind of stuck in an expensive house that I got when we were going in a different big money making direction, and then I pulled the pin on it. So I'm sort of having to be a bit careful, but I do try to support where I can. And I think that those that do have money should support other independent creators who are brave enough. Like, Benjamin Boyce is a good example. Give him money. He's doing great work, and he's got a full-time job. So the way I hope that this will work is that I will I can always build a client base. The thing that I'm not sure about is how confident they'll be when the pack comes for me. That's the unknown. But I don't see that being an issue, because I'm going to just declare that up front, that I'm going to make some videos on what cancel culture is and explain that to people who don't know, especially for employers. So maybe that might be some good that I can do. But I think I'm very happy with my consulting work. I think that the answer for me is to be selective about the clients that I work with, and only work with clients that are cool with me, because they pay the good rates. They can afford, they pay my full rate, and that then takes the burden off of people who would otherwise. I don't like asking people. I don't like asking people for money. But if you do want to help me, that would be great. And if you're loaded, that would be great. And if you want to eat my teeth or whatever the fuck that was, that's $250 a month. If you want to cancel me, You have to give me $15,000 a month, by the way. Just so you know, like that's my price, because that means you're on my retainer. There you go. You're a client then. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, so that's why I'm hesitating with sort of calls to action and stuff, because I don't know how I want to monetize, and I'd very much prefer to just sell consulting services that I already do and run, and just pivot my agency in the direction that I want to pivot in, and have that subsidize this. So this would just roll into Brand Taya and all of it be the same thing. But yeah, yes, thanks Flick, bye. So yes, that's my thing. I know this live stream has gone too long because we got sort of sidetracked. I actually didn't talk about much of anything I planned to. But that's okay. This is fun. I'm actually really enjoying myself. I would really like, I think I'm ready to do interviews. I think I'm almost there. Yeah. I just really wish that I was more organized. This is I wish that I could do the hi and welcome to this and blah, 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 and not wander off, right? And say, this is my YouTube channel, like and subscribe, and here's this and this, here's 10 tips to do this and this and this and this. But it's all in there, but it's easier when when people ask questions, and unfortunately the questions fucking don't work very well. But it was fun to have the Twitch people in there though. That was awesome. I'm going to put that as a clip. That's fucking awesome. I would love it if people could just come and troll me. That's so cool, because I am like, there's nothing that anyone can say to me that I haven't heard a million times before. It's just like, oh my God. Yeah, it's so cool. It's good fun. Anyway, I think that this has run its course, but if you want to like and subscribe, that would be good. If you do feel like you want to support me in some way, then the best way to do that is to just share and refer me for either the digital consulting. I talked about Dolphin Project. I'm thinking I should maybe go offline now and record a actual video that talks about the Dolphin Project, and that's a shareable video. And then I can maybe run some ads on that. But I want to get the website and everything done. And because I'm so busy building websites for everyone else, I never quite get I mean, even the Kintsugi website, I built that a year ago, and in a couple of days, and I haven't gone back to it because I just don't have time. I'm so busy building for other people that I never get to do my own. But I do want to start getting serious, and it's all Brand Taya, but I do need to separate Kintsugi because that is actually the company. So that is actually the proprietary limited. So it's all structural stuff that I'm trying to figure out. But anyway, so yeah, the best way you can help me without having to give me money. I don't want people because everyone's struggling at the moment, I don't want is to refer me for my main services at Kintsugi. And you can find all those links at my website if you want. But otherwise, I just love watching, and I just, the best way to support me is to interact with me, and also if this live stream time, if you want to be on one, and it's either with me as a guest or as a commenter, but it's not good time, I can do an alternate time one, like maybe on alternate weeks. I'll do one at 10 a.m. on a Friday for the Australian people, and one at sort of, on a Thursday night or Friday night or something like that. It's hard on the weekends because I've got the kids, but do a nighttime one that's more in line with the UK and US, because it's very tricky to keep everybody happy. But yeah, so I'm really grateful that people are watching me. It's weird that I've got so many subscribers and stuff and comments already, and because when I stop and think about it, I get all nervous. But yeah, I hope that I'm really enjoying this adventure, and it's good. I've made some amazing friends. And if you're afraid of YouTube, here's a little bit of advice. If you're afraid of YouTube, don't be. You're going to be. right? I stuttered so much, and my brain, I still need to sit down and visualize a funnel and slow down my thoughts and slow down my words. And I even use a teleprompter when I'm doing scripted videos, and those are really shit. But the thing about being shit is that it's a bit like exercise. Like a personal trainer once said to me, in the 2 times I've seen a personal trainer in my life. But that, someone said it, that this is the hardest it's going to be if you keep going. And it's the same. It's like that with video. It's like that with, and I know I'm not taking my own advice, because it's like that with stand up. And I want to give stand up a go. I will do that at some point, but I'm chicken shit, and I admit it. But I will. But it's the same thing. Probably the more you do it, the easier it gets. And I have gotten better every time. And I think that I've gotten better in spades, leaps and bounds. Like I've just, it's good. Do it. Even if you just do a private stream, you actually end up being better on video than you think. Like one thing that I realized is that even though right now I'm sitting here going, oh my God, you're waffling and you sound like shit, I actually realize when I watch it back that I'm actually not doing as badly as I thought, and I sound better than I thought, and I'm not stuttering as much as I thought. I think, I do obviously stutter and stumble, and I have work to do, and I have to work on my delivery. But at the same time, I get better each time, and my confidence, yeah, I recommend this. If I can live stream, so can you, and I'm happy to consult anybody who wants to talk to me about this. I'm learning so that I can show you how. At the end of the day, I'm learning because, also, first of all, I'm not fucking writing much, and second of all, I needed a new creative outlet and a new challenge, and this is challenging me. And I also want to be able to share this knowledge with people that I work with, and what I learned. And the only way that I ever learn anything is by making myself the crash test dummy and going for it and making the mistakes, right? And that's the same thing. Again, circle back to what we were talking about with kids being kids. You can't stop the train crash, right? You can only manage it, but you have to have lived it first. And so what I want to do is, if you're thinking about starting, I'm by no means a YouTube expert. I'm figuring it out, but I'm happy to impart whatever I know as I learn it, and consult and be on this great journey and great friends. So thank you for watching. It's great. Even if I waffle, and even if I never fully get around to editing these live videos into something that people actually watch. People don't watch these live streams, by the way. There's only like 30 views on them. So maybe I should clip them down. I'm not sure. I think I will. But anyway, it's good talking. Thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, and share, and tell me and give me feedback. If you've got questions things you want me to talk about, I know a lot, and I often stumble because all it takes is for the week to get away from me and I'd have nothing to talk about. And it's weird because suddenly I have nothing to talk about, and this is my longest live stream. This was only supposed to be an hour. So my coffee's cold, and that's a sign I've got to go. Thank you so much. Help independent creators because they're going through a tough time right now. I have actually edited my channel on YouTube with a list of recommended people that I think you should support, and I think you should support financially. I'm doing okay right now, but if you want to help me, the best way to do that is to refer me as a digital consultant or designer, or for agency services like production, because that's my bag, and it takes the pressure off anybody else. I don't like feeling like I'm being like, yeah, give me enough money to write my book, I'm happy, because then the book can make money, hopefully, and then we'll see how we go from there. But right now, I don't want people fucking paying, who like have less money than me, paying for me to make stupid videos. Like, I want, I don't want that. Okay. Only give it to me. Only give me support if you can afford it. And if you want to be nice and refer people for my business, then by all means, that is greatly appreciated. you can just have a look and see. I am going to change it because I do actually want to change my offering because I don't really want to do ads and PPC and stuff like that, but I can refer someone who does. So yeah, thank you so much, and I will see you on the dark side. What was that? No, let's do that again. See you in hell. No, because we are in hell. We're in my hell. This is why hell doesn't exist. Because we're fucking living it. Idiocracy. Anyway, bye. I love you. Thank you. Subscribe. Love you. Thank you. Love you. Bye. Finish.